Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be drafting the torso of this blouse. First thing we're going to be doing is to measure out the shoulder divided by 2, which is 7.5 plus half, which gave me 8. My shoulder is 15 by the way. And then I'm going to bring that down the 8 inches. From there I'll take my vertical measurements, my chest line at 8, my bust point at 10, under bust at 13, half length 15, and the length of the blouse at 22, and then I added 2 inches for allowance. I'm going to go ahead and rule that out just as you see me doing, just like this guys. Now next thing we're going to do is to bring down the 8 inches at the shoulder down to the chest line, and I'll connect that together just as you see me doing. I'm going to go ahead and connect it, and then we're going to measure out the neck. For my neck I'm using 3.5 inches for the width, and then I'm going to come down the armhole line by 1 inch, and I'm going to slant that into the neck just as you see me doing. Okay, now next thing we're going to be doing is to place the midpoint of the remaining armhole line. Okay, so we're going to take out the midpoint. You could use the full length, or you could stop at where the shoulder slant starts, and then after getting the midpoint we'll measure out the bust. Divide by 4. My bust is 36 divided by 4, which is 9, and I'm just going to mark 9 right there, and then I'm going to connect the 3 points together with my armhole curve. Before that, you come in by ½ inch at the mid part of the armhole line, and then we're going to connect the 3 points together just as you see me doing. Okay, so guys, this is what we have. Next thing we're going to do is for the armhole, for the neck depth, I'm using 3.5. okay, so I'm going to connect that together. So for my neck I use 3.5 by 3.5 for the width and the depth. So go ahead and connect yours together just as you see me doing. Now we're going to label the chest line, the bust point, under bust, half length, length and allowance. Okay, so guys, this is what we have. Next thing we're going to do is to determine the nipple to nipple. That's your bust distance. Mine is 3.5. I added ½ inch, which gave me 4, and then I'm going to mark that all the way from the bust point to the allowance line, just as you see me doing. And after doing this, we're going to rule the points together. We're going to connect all the dots together just like this. Okay, so guys, this is what you ought to have. Now you determine the midpoint of your shoulder. So take a close look at what I'm doing. I have 5 and the midpoint is 2.5, and I'm going to connect that to the bust point just as you see me doing. Okay, so guys, this is what you ought to have. And then next thing we're going to be doing is to come down to the under bust, and we're going to take 1 inch going in and 1 inch going out and ½ inch going in. Okay, now depending on your bust, my bust is small, I'm taking 1 inch going out. If yours is bigger, you could take 1 inch going in and 1.5 or 2 inches going out, depending on how you want it. So guys, this is what I have, and I'm going to connect all the dots together. So for my underbust, I took it down to the allowance line. I'll connect it together just like this. Okay, so guys, this is what you ought to have. Now from here I'm going to take a curve into the bust point. Okay, so using your curve ruler or your freehand, just curve it into the bust point to form the under bust slope, you know, the curve under your bust. Yes, so this is what we're doing right now, and go ahead and do yours. If you don't have a curve ruler, please use your hand. Now we're going to take the shoulder dart. Okay, so for the shoulder dart, I'm going to be going out by 1 inch and I'm going in by ½ inch. Going out by 1 inch or 0.75, whatever you prefer. I'm going in by ½ inch. So you're going to slant that to your bust point. Okay, just as you see me doing. Yep, so this is what you ought to have. Next thing we're going to do is to place our measurements. Okay, so my bust is 36 divided by 4, which is 9, and then I've marked that previously. I'm just going to measure what I took out in the dart, and then I'm going to add that out. So it's about ½ inch. I come down to my half length, and I'm going to take my waist divided by 4, which is 28 divided by 4, 7, and mark that out. My dart 1.5, I added that. And then for the length, that's the end of the blouse, I'm just going to bring down what I have at my bust. Now what I have at my bust is 9, I marked that, and the 1.5 inches that we took out, I added that out. Okay, I added that to the measurements. So this is what we have, and we're going to connect all our points together. So guys, go ahead and connect yours. Connect all the dots together. That's the original point. Okay, so guys, this is it. Next thing we're going to be doing right now is to go ahead and add our allowance. Okay, so for the allowance, I'm using 2.5 inches, which I'm going to add at my bust, my half length, and the allowance. Okay, so guys, this is what we have. I'm going to go ahead and connect all the points together, just like this. Okay, so go ahead and connect yours together like this. And guys, this is what we have. This is what you ought to have. So all the dart lines, the dart parts, we're going to be cutting them out. Okay, so we're going to be replacing the armhole. Okay, so that we don't have shortage when sewing. I've gone ahead to extend the shoulder slant, and I'm going to measure what I took out, which was about 1.5 inches. I'm going to add that to the armhole. Okay, and then I'll come down to the mid parts and also determine what I took. I think there is about 1 inch, and then I'm just going to add that, and then we are going to be covering a new armhole, just like this. Okay, so now you're going to connect the 3 points together to get your new armhole. Okay, so guys, this is it. This is what you ought to have, and all the parts where I put the red marker is where we are going to be cutting out. So after doing this, we're going to go ahead right now and cut out. Okay, so I'm just labeling my allowance. Ensure you add enough allowance. And guys, this is it. This is what you ought to have. And after doing this, I'm going to make the basque effect, or should I say the curve. My basque is not deep enough, so I'm just placing this down, and then we're going to slant it out. So at the edge of the blouse, I went up by 2 inches. At the edge of the blouse, I went up by 2 inches, and then I'm just going to curve that to the midpoint of the blouse. Okay, so you're going to curve this out. If you want your basque to be deeper, what you do is instead of going up by 2 inches, you go up by, let's say, 5, and then you curve that. Okay, so this is it. This is what you ought to have. And next thing we're doing is to cut the back. For the back, I've gone ahead to do some joining, some paper joining there. And then we're going to measure 2 inches for the zipper. And then this is it. Next thing we'll do is to measure the shoulder. When you're starting the measurement, start from the zipper line. And I've marked my shoulder at 8 inches, just as we have at the front. And then I'm going to come down by the same 8 inches. And then I'll measure my half length at 15, my length at 22, and 2 inches for allowance. I'm going to rule that out, just as you see me doing. So guys, this is what you ought to have: chest line, half length, length, and allowance. Okay, and what we're going to do is to mark the neck. For the neck, we use 3.5, just as we have at the front. And for the depth, I'm using 2 inches for the depth. Okay, now all these measurements are exclusive to me. You could make yours deeper, wider, whatsoever way you prefer. So guys, after doing this, I extended it into the zipper, and then we're just going to curve it out. Okay, so we're going to curve it out just as you see me doing. If you do not have a curved ruler, please don't stress yourself, just use your free hand. Next thing we're going to be doing is to come down by 8 inches on the chest line, just as you have at the shoulder. You're going to connect that to the 8 inches you have at the shoulder, and then we're going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant, and slant that into the neck. After that, we're going to place the bust measurement on the chest line, which is 9 inches. We determine the midpoint of the armhole and come in by ½ inch, and then we're going to curve out the armhole curve. You connect the 3 points together as usual. We're going to connect it to get the armhole curve, just as you see me doing. So guys, this is what you ought to have. Next thing we're going to do is to get the darts. So for my darts at the back, I'm using my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 3.5 plus ½ inch, 4. Okay, and then I'm going to take that at the half length on the chest line and on the allowance line. Okay, and then we're going to rule that together. Next thing you're going to do is that you're going to come to the half length. You're going to take ½ inches on both sides. Okay, so you're going to measure ½ inch on both sides, just as you see me doing. Okay, this is for your darts. Okay, you measure ½ inch on both sides, and then on the chest line you come down by 1.5 inches. So just come down by 1.5 inches there, and then on the length you're going to go up by 1.5 inches too, and then you're going to mark out your dart leg. Okay, so we came down because we want to determine how long we want that leg to be, okay? Now, if you want yours to be longer, you can do that, okay? So guys, we're going to connect it, and this is what you ought to have, okay? Now, next thing we're going to do is we'll come to the post. My post divided by 4 is 9, and I added 2. So my half length, my waist divided by 4 is 7, and I'll add 2.5 inches to that, okay? And then for the length, I place what I have on the bust there, just as you see me doing, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and connect these points together. Okay. So first of all, connect the original measurement line, and then we'll now connect the allowance points together, just as you see me doing, okay? So guys, this is what you ought to have, and then we're going to go ahead to help reduce the bulge at the back. So my half length, I went in by ½ inch at the zipper, and then I'm just going to slant that to the edge, just as you see me doing. And I'm going to do that at the lower part and at the upper parts, okay? This is to help reduce the bulge. There are different ways to do this, and you could just look for different ways to do this, and the way that works for you, you can use that. So guys, this is it. I'm going to go ahead and label. So this is the back. All the measurements we are doing, you're going to have to cut them on fold, okay? This is the allowance and the darts. So we're going to go ahead now and cut this out, okay? So guys, this is it, and this is our zipper allowance. Now we're going to create the same basque effects that we have at the front and the back, okay? So like we did at the front, 2 inch, you go up by 2 inches at the waist, and then you're going to slant that into the edge of the midpoint of the blouse, okay? So this is optional. The basque effects can only be at the front, depending on what you like. You could just make the back of the blouse so just be straight or a little bit curved, you understand? And then the basque will only appear at the front, depending on what you like, okay? So guys, this is it. And then we're going to go ahead and cut this out too. So guys, this is what we have, and this is what you ought to have. Please don't forget to cut and fold for the front and the back piece. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you try it out. Thank you so much for watching.